Coming up on The Wrong Exit, 2 young girls kidnapped after a sinister online relationship with a 19-year-old. Find out how MCSO's digital detectives found the girls before they vanished without a trace, and how you can protect your own children from these online exploiters. And the highs and lows of street drugs. As the southern border gets locked down, so does the fentanyl use. But when one drug falls, another rises. Find out what narcotics detectives are faced with now. And it's hail to the hounds. Meet the Martin County Sheriff's newest canines in training. They're awful pretty, but don't let those whiskers fool you. In our world, they are crime hunters. And of course, this week's rapid fire. This is The Wrong Exit. Let's roll.
I'm Sheriff John Budenseek, and welcome to The Wrong Exit. We have a lot to cover today, so I'm going to jump right in. With me today is Captain Gavin Warner, who's going to kind of touch on an investigation that we've had and then talk about things that affect you right in your own home. Captain, good to have you this afternoon.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thanks for having me.
So I know we had an alarming case last week where 2 young girls went missing, but that really dovetails into something that your division deals with day in and day out, and that's technology and how it affects us as parents, as law enforcement officers, and then, of course, it's our job to try to keep families safe as a whole. Kind of tell me a little bit about that case, and then we'll kind of dovetail into some of the things that we can do, the apps that we can talk about, and things that family members can do to keep our children safe.
On January 31st, we received a 911 call in reference to 2 missing juveniles, a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. Our road patrol responded, and our detective bureau also responded. We were able to identify the subject that kidnapped these 2 girls, and we were able to bring him into justice within 4 hours.
So that's a frightening case. As a parent, we're both parents, that's a frightening case. And you said in 30 seconds what took hours of investigative work on the front side just to get the ball rolling in order to make that case. But how did this case start? Where was the initial contact made between these young girls and this would-be kidnapper before he came to Martin County all the way from Omaha, Nebraska?
So the conversation first started on an app called Roblox. Roblox is a platform that is potentially used for kids, which is a safe place to game, to meet other juveniles on this app to play different kinds of games. And what we have learned is this is a kind of a breeding ground for these perverts, pedophiles that groom these small children, then move them to different platforms to chat, and then ultimately their end goal is to meet up with them.
So I'm not tech savvy. So it's a gaming app that just anybody can download and play. They play it on their phones, or do they play it with a game
Phones,
console?
tablet, whatever device you can access the internet to, you can download most of these apps.
And then is that gaming app monitored? Why are they moving them from the gaming app over to a different platform in order to facilitate whatever crimes they're doing?
So Roblox has parental controls that you can put onto the app, so your children can only go onto certain games, chat with certain people. But these pedophiles and these people that prey on children, they act as 15-year-old boys, 15-year-old girls, and that's how they get comfortable, and they groom these small kids to move them to other apps to where, like Snapchat, Instagram, to where they can freely communicate without the parental controls.
So in this case, they went from Roblox over to Snapchat. Why would they choose Snapchat? What's specific about that app that makes it something that a predator would want to use?
Snapchat is known for you can send messages or pictures or audio, and once you view them, they're completely erased. So that is a platform they like to use, so their content is erased after it's sent.
So it's completely gone out of the digital world, or is it something that can be retrieved if we get the device?
If we get the device, there is a chance that we can retrieve it, yes.
But these criminals out there, they realize that it's pretty foolproof. Person looks at it and then it's gone. Are there other apps out there that function the same way?
Any app that you can download that has any sort of chat or communication device where 2 people can chat, any device, like you can do Pinterest, has it, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you can chat with someone one-on-one, they're using those apps.
And your division has how many people that deal with the exploitation of kids, essentially?
So we have a sergeant with 6 detectives that solely focus on crimes against children.
And so they're downloading devices, they're following up on child pornography cases, they're doing any kind of sexual cases. And we also do undercover operations, right, on a routine basis where we're trying to catch these predators while they're out trolling the internet.
Correct.
Tell
We
us about
also we also use undercovers to work on these apps to try to catch these pedophiles that are preying on the young children.
that. And does there ever seem to be a shortage of predators out there that are surfing and chatting with our undercovers?
There's too many to count.
So that's, as a parent, that's an alarming thing to say, actually, right? We're talking about all these apps where they can get a hold of your kids, and we're also saying there's too many to count. So what do parents do to try to head that off? Because it is alarming that there's that many people out there that are phishing the internet on a daily basis, trying to interact with our youth. What does a parent do?
You have to be vigilant. You have to look at your children's phones. You have to monitor what apps they use, who they talk to. If your children's behavior changes, like, your son comes out every day, high fives you, hey dad, hey mom, and then all of a sudden they're in their room, they're not talking to you, they're glued to their devices, there's probably something going on in the background that you need to look out for.
Are there any apps that can monitor inappropriate behavior that a parent can buy or download on their child's device, or has that not been invented yet, essentially?
So to answer that question, I'm not sure, but we have detectives here that all they do is solely do digital forensics, and we offer any church groups, family groups, communities, HOAs, if they want to educate the families and the parents of these children, we send our detectives out and they give them a full brief on what they can do to protect their kids.
So a guy like me, again, I'm not tech savvy, and I'm curious about my child's phone. What can I do to make sure that none of these apps are on the front screen or operating in the background? I know that's a thing also. Do I take it to a store? Is there a place I can take my phone, my child's phone, and have them just go through it, make sure there's nothing on there inappropriate or no app that I don't know about? How do I do that?
You can bring the phone here to the sheriff's office. Our detectives can look through it to make sure there's nothing alarming. As long as you're the parent and you have the right to that phone, your children's phone, as long as they're not an adult, we can check their phone to make sure that there's nothing nefarious going on.
And let me go back to one thing you said. You said any social media app where you can communicate. Etsy? I thought that was like a sewing app or something like that. Pardon my ignorance, but
anywhere that you can message back and forth to a person, they're using it.
so gone are the days of us, we worried about the creeper vans, the old guy driving around in a white van with no windows. Like, that's not the issue anymore. That old man's driving around in your bedroom at nighttime or potentially in your kid's bedroom on the internet day in and day out, right?
Yes, sir. And soliciting photos from children. Yes, he's in your bedroom on the phone. No more candy in the white van anymore.
We just did an operation last month where we arrested a lot of what we call chatters. These individuals that actually look at photos and then they're moving into actually trying to hook up with these juveniles. How many did we get on that operation?
We ended up getting physically, we arrested 6 in person, and we have another 12 warrants that we're putting out.
So that's 18 people in a 3-day operation that were coming to Martin County, potentially in their minds, to hook up with a youth. That's an alarming number.
Yes, and there was a lot more that were interested. There was just a lot more process. They were trying to groom us, per se, to kind of make sure everything was in line and not law enforcement talking to them.
As you can see, this is alarming. We're going to take a quick break, and you'll want to be back so we can share some more information.
Hello, I'm Karen Knable. I'm the supervisor of Martin County Animal Services, and this is my rapid fire.
House or condo?
House.
Classical or jazz?
Classical.
Peas or carrots?
Carrots.
Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Hamburgers.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Snickers or Skittles?
Snickers.
Casual or dressy?
Casual.
Castle or cottage?
Castle.
Snow or rain?
Snow.
Potatoes or rice?
Potatoes.
And that is your rapid fire.
Thank you so much.
Well, welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with Captain Warner of how you can protect your kids. And one of the things we do here at the Martin County Sheriff's Office is we work together on a daily basis with task forces, not just the Martin County Sheriff's Office, but all over the country in order to keep our families and specifically our kids safe. Captain, tell us a little bit about ICAC. What does that stand for and what do they do? How does that function or interact with the Martin County Sheriff's Office?
So ICAC is a task force that we're a part of. It's called Internet Crimes Against Children. They are an organization that scrubs the internet and looks for child pornography photographs that are circulating.
So they are scrubbing the internet. They come across an inappropriate image. How does that image How do we get that image in Martin County and do an investigation with that?
So ICAC then sends us the image with the IP address, and they have determined that IP address has come from Martin County.
So this search engine is really nationwide. Any images that are moving across the internet, they're identifying them, they're moving them to the appropriate jurisdiction, and then we start an investigation. What does that look like? An image comes to the Martin County Sheriff's Office. It's just a photo. What do you do with that?
So the detectives have to determine whether or not the photo is of a juvenile or they believe to be a juvenile. And then after that starts the back end work to where they're starting to do IP address search warrants. They're starting to do search warrants on social media accounts, Google accounts, email accounts, stuff like that to figure out where the source was that sent that image.
So when you see on the news, this individual was arrested for 100 counts of child pornography, a lot of these cases began with an ICAC tip, were sent to the Martin County Sheriff's Office, and our detectives did a thorough investigation through search warrants and subpoenas, of course, and that's the end result, these individuals being arrested for child porn.
Correct.
And then what happens? They get arrested, they go to court, they get convicted. What do they become at that point? A sexual predator, a sexual offender?
With the just child pornography, it'd be a sexual offender.
Sexual offender. And then post-incarceration, whenever they get out of prison, we keep track of them through our sheriff's office?
Correct. They have to register twice a year here at the Martin County Sheriff's Office, and we have detectives that check on them monthly.
So post-incarceration, they come to the sheriff's office, they're registered with us, and then we do routine checks on them to make sure that they stay in conformity.
Correct. We spot check them once a month.
So after these individuals register with the Martin County Sheriff's Office, how can a parent or somebody that lives in Martin County find out or figure out where these sexual predators or sexual offenders live?
They can go to the homepage of the Martin County Sheriff's Office. We have a link directly to the FDLE website that shows you every sexual predator and sexual offender in Martin County.
Captain, this has been great information. Thank you for your time. As parents, this stuff really matters. Pay attention to what your kids are looking at and who they're interacting with. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tabitha Queen. I'm an animal control officer here with the Animal Services Unit at the Martin County Sheriff's Office, and this is my rapid fire.
Apple or orange?
Apple.
Rock or country?
Country.
Train or plane?
Train.
Cash or debit card?
Debit.
Beach or mountain?
Mountains.
Movie or concert?
Movies.
Dog or cat?
Both.
Sunshine or moonlight?
Sunshine.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Beef or chicken?
Beef.
And that is your rapid fire.
Have a nice day, y'all.
Welcome back to The Wrong Exit. And with us today is Lieutenant James Maltese. The lieutenant has my old job, the narcotics lieutenant. Great job, does a lot for the county. And Lieutenant, I wanted to ask you today, the drug world ebbs and flows. Cocaine's big, crack cocaine's big, then it moves over to pills, then it moves to heroin, then it moves to fentanyl, and then it moves back to cocaine. Where are we right now? What's the drug of choice right now in Martin County?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. First of all, the drug that we're seeing most prevalent is cocaine again. It is on the rise. We have been seeing an influx of that on a daily basis again.
So fentanyl, which we were getting the overdose deaths, unfortunately, a lot in our county for a long period of time, seems to be subsiding. What do you attribute that to?
Yes, sir. I think a big part of that is the border closure. We have been seeing statewide, actually, we were down at a HIDA conference, and the Miami Crime Lab even is showing a downward decrease of fentanyl overdoses in the state of Florida.
For the people watching, what is HIDA? What's that mean?
It's high intensity drug trafficking organization. It's run out of South Florida, and we're part of that region, luckily.
And that's an agency that actually sponsors us by giving us money to do fentanyl or designated drug investigations?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So with the closure of the border, fentanyl's kind of slowed down. We're seeing an influx in cocaine. Where is that coming from? Is that a maritime initiative that's coming across, or what's that look like?
Yes, sir. It sounds like what's happening with the border closure is we're seeing the decrease in fentanyl, and the cocaine now is prevalent sitting in these border countries, essentially, and there's just an overflow of supply. So what's happening then is it's just becoming cheaper and easier to get across from our southern countries.
I know we've got a couple videos that we're going to show here. If we can start with the one here, we're in a trailer. I believe it's in South Stewart. Just kind of tell me what we're looking at here.
Yes, sir. So this started as an investigation where we were purchasing several grams of cocaine. A search warrant was executed on this female, and our detectives recovered about 22 ounces of cocaine individually packaged. They were broken down into gram to 2 gram bags at a time.
What's a gram of coke go for now?
It changes too much, to be honest with you, for that. So
Got it. So 22 ounces of cocaine. Put that in perspective. Ounces, grams. People don't really understand
Uh,
what that is. Is that significant for Martin County?
it is significant for Martin County. It's even more significant that it's broken up individually. You see each bag there is labeled 100, so each one had 100 grams in there.
So it's like that lady that you arrested in this video that we just showed. Would be a mid-level drug dealer who distributes to a lower-level drug dealer who then peddle at the gram level on the streets.
That's correct. So the 22 ounces, seeing how they're broken down to individual grams, it's a lot of customers that she had here locally in Martin County.
So, Lieutenant, we're looking at another clip here. Kind of, to me, looks like a traffic stop. Tell me what we're looking at.
We're looking at a what we call a buy bust here. Several individuals agreed to meet one of our undercovers and sell fentanyl to them. So even though fentanyl is on the decrease, we still have the opportunity to purchase it and keep our streets safe. So in this one, several individuals agreed to come sell us fentanyl, and the traffic stop was conducted.
So they were both arrested for possessing or selling fentanyl to our undercovers?
There were 3 total arrests. One was charged with trafficking. The state law and federal law is pretty good with the trafficking charges here. So 4 grams is considered trafficking of fentanyl. So we had over 4 grams of fentanyl. One was charged with possession, and the female half was charged with introduction of contraband and paraphernalia.
Let's talk about trafficking real quick because it's important. The state is set up not to be hard on drug users. The goal is actually to get them in the drug court, get them rehabilitated, they can reintegrate into society. So we're not after the users. We arrest them, but we're after the actual people that are selling or trafficking drugs. A trafficker is its own level where they get arrested for a weight, right?
Yes, sir. Each drug is broken down into a different weight for drug trafficking, and those trafficking weights vary drug to drug.
But the traffickers are the main bosses. They're the ones that actually deserve to do the time, in your opinion?
Yes, sir.
So again, back to the user. We catch a user that's on fentanyl or whatever. What happens to them?
Most of them, depending on their criminal history, some of them will get assistance from the state or from drug treatment centers. They'll go do their time in county jail or prison, but in that time they have time to rehabilitate and hopefully find programs to assist them.
The one thing mentioned in that video that we just watched was she alludes to the fact that she has Narcan, which gives her the ability to save a life. What is Narcan, and what do they use that for?
Narcan is an over-counter. It has adverse reactions to opiates. It actually saves a person. It's a nasal. It goes in your nasal ways, and it's a spray. And what happens is it basically blocks out the opiates and ensures that you make fire rescue. Fire rescue gets you to the hospital in time.
So somebody's near death, like we see all the time. They're unconscious. Their breathing is shallow. They're near death, and they get a couple shots of Narcan. What happens?
It brings them back to life, essentially, and it allows EMS or fire rescue to save them.
Like a light switch, turns them back on?
Yes, sir.
So we're seeing overdose deaths gradually subside. And are we attributing that to the border being shut down or Narcan usage, or holistically are the narcotics guys seeing less fentanyl on the street?
We are seeing less fentanyl on the street due to those plays of Narcan and the border closure. However, what we're seeing is a trend in fentanyl actually being pressed. For a while, it was being pressed in the Oxy 30s. Now we're just seeing that those drug dealers, those drug traffickers, instead of pressing the fentanyl, they're just selling the old Oxys back to us. So fentanyl is becoming harder to get.
Lieutenant, that's interesting stuff. But when we come back, we're going to talk about something that you would really have no idea is having such a drastic effect on our youth. Welcome back to The Wrong Exit. And we're going to now kind of transition away from hard drugs to a drug that seemingly has been accepted by society, but it really affects our kids in a huge way. And LT, if you want to tell us what we've been dealing with here in Martin County recently as last week.
Yes, sir. So we executed a search warrant after a months of investigation. And you see here on that picture, we seized over 100 pounds of cannabis and over 2,500 THC vapes. In that, there was also about 80 or so containers containing THC resin. One of the big things, in my opinion, in the sheriff's office view is the THC vapes. Those THC vapes, about 2,500 of them, even if they sell them individually, you figure one person can't use that, especially in high schools where we're seeing a majority of them. So they share it with 4 or 5 friends, and that's a big number of students that were affected by this.
So last year, after receiving multiple complaints from parents, teachers, school board members, we did a vaping undercover operation around the entire county, consisting of going to convenience stores and head shops and buying vapes and cigarettes and making arrests. Seemingly insignificant. But is this a result of those investigations?
Yes, sir. The investigation did start with gas stations, convenience stores, where we were buying vapes that were just the vape pens that you could sell over the counter. That led into more complaints of students purchasing vapes containing THC at local high schools, at car shows, at the malls, areas like that. During the investigation, it led us to this source supply, ultimately, for the THC vapes and cannabis here in Martin County.
So there's 2 ways to buy marijuana: black market, and then legally if you have some kind of a medical condition, which there's pharmacies all over the county that actually sell legal marijuana, providing you have a prescription. What is this right here? What are we looking at?
We're looking at cannabis that was either shipped here or picked up out of state and brought back. And the THC vapes were actually sent here through the mail, which we confirmed.
So this is the kind of stuff that our kids get a hold of in the schools. These are the types of vapes that our parents are routinely complaining about and our school faculty are telling us about. This is the stuff that affects our youth.
Yes, sir. It, again, contains THC, the resin in it, the oil, and it's a direct derivative from the THC itself.
All right, so Lieutenant, I'm a parent, and I want to check and see if my child is using vape, smoking THC. How do I know? What do I look for? What signs do I look for with my child? Again,
like Captain Warner touched on earlier, you have your child is really eager to see you every morning, high-fiving, giving you hugs, and they start shying off or being a little standoffish or even sluggish in nature and attitude. These THC vapes are 100% THC resin. They will show side effects of being under the influence of narcotics.
Does that smell like marijuana if it's smoked?
Some of them do. Some of them, unfortunately, are smelled or flavored to mimic fruits. I believe some of them have strawberry flavors, watermelon flavors. So the smell of THC, it's not going to be like if someone was sitting there smoking a cannabis blunt or out of a bowl. So they won't smell that. They'll probably just smell something fruity.
So I'm a parent and I catch my child with a vape and they're trying to back out of it, least worst case scenario for them. They're just saying, oh, it's tobacco. How can a parent tell the difference?
They could tell a difference by simply getting their kid a drug test if they would like, and they will pop positive for cannabis or marijuana in their system. Other than that, the THC resin in those vape pens is almost distinguishably thicker, but short of knowing what it is, the parent won't be able to identify that it is THC resin in there.
Well, Lieutenant, obviously your unit is working hard day in and day out to keep the citizens of Martin County safe. They're not just dealing with marijuana smugglers in this case, but they're dealing with cocaine traffickers, fentanyl dealers, and the list goes on and on. Thank you for what you do to keep this county safe.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Up next, we're going to deal with the showstoppers of the Martin County Sheriff's Office, and that's our K-9 unit. Well, as promised, welcome back to The Wrong Exit. We have the show stealer stopper here. And Sarge, you have one job. That's to make sure I don't get bit sitting here having this podcast.
That's correct. I'm holding the lead nice and tight.
What's he so excited about? Tell us about him real quick.
Well, he's got his handler in the room. These dogs, they only go off of one thing, and that's the commands of their handlers. So right now he's conflicted between the ball and his handler, Deputy White, over there. He's trying to decide what Deputy White wants him to do. It is a little strange to him to be sitting on this table not knowing what to do.
He's a beautiful dog. So tell us about him. He's one of how many K-9 units we have here at Martin County Sheriff's Office?
He's one of 5. Currently, we have 5 dogs. Zoli's actually going to be our first bomb dog we've had in quite a while. So right now Zoli's going. He's a dual purpose police dog, and he's being trained to detect explosives and also conduct patrol function.
So because I'm distracted like he is, that ball right there means something. Obviously, he's fixated on us. Tell us about that.
That's correct. That ball is the world to him. He personally, I can speak with my dog. My dog would prefer a ball or a toy over food. I think Zoli probably has the same mindset. So that ball is basically a reward system. It's a paycheck. Whenever he does something that Deputy White wants him to do, he gets paid with the ball.
Yeah. Deputy White, you want to pay him real quick just so we can see him in action? So tell us what we just saw. He was rewarded with the ball, but the same thing applies actually to fighting a human, right? If he's ordered to chase something, that's kind of his reward for the work that he's done. Tell us about that.
That's correct. So in training, the ball is the reward to our dogs. It's their paycheck. They're coming to work. We expect them to operate at a high capacity, and we reward them with their favorite thing in life, and that is the ball. The same thing goes for apprehensions. When we utilize the training on the streets, they are essentially paid with bites. Now, those bites are just to stop and control people that need to be stopped and controlled. But in the real world, the bite is the reward, essentially.
And you see the drive, at least I saw the drive in that dog. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that dog's intensity.
Right. Yeah, when we select our dogs, we want a high drive dog. We don't want a dog that's just going to sit still on the table and be relaxed and chill. Of course, there's a time and a place we expect our dogs to be relaxed and chill. But for the most part, you want a high drive, high intensity dog.
So you told us earlier we have 5 dogs. What kind of dogs are they? Kind of break them down. I know they're not all the same. What kind of dogs do we have?
So we have five different breeds here. We have Dutch Shepherd. We have a German Shepherd, Belgian Malinois mix, and then we have just full German Shepherd.
What's pros and cons?
Each breed is just slightly different. Really, the pros are that the 3 breeds I just mentioned are the most well-rounded for what we're looking for. You want high drive, high hunt drive, lots of excitement. The particular breeds that I mentioned, they have basically, you take all the breeds out there in the world, you combine them all together for what we're looking for. That's primarily going to be a German Shepherd, a Dutch Shepherd, and a Belgian Malinois.
I know all of our canines come to us young, but how old are they when we actually put them out on the street and they're operational, roughly?
So roughly the dogs will range when we select them from between 12 and 18 months. And then, of course, they go through about a 6-month training period. So when they're fully certified, they're about 2 years old.
So the training period, from the time we choose them, they arrive here at the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Tell me what happens in that 6 months. What do they learn?
So they learn patrol and tracking and narcotics detection, and now we're doing explosive detection. It's a 480-hour course. The handlers must certify at the end of it in order for their dog to be a working dog on the streets.
So talking about the handlers, it's almost as much or more work for the handler learning the course and the dog and how the dog functions as it is the dog learning the job function and the handler.
Correct. Yeah, the handlers have to pair up well with the dogs. Not every handler is going to be right for every dog and vice versa. But the handlers go through a lot. It is an extensive training. There's a lot to be learned, everything from a simple command to how to read your dog.
When we look for canine handlers, what are we looking for in a canine handler?
We like high drive handlers as well, go-getters, proactive. If we're giving you an expensive asset to operate, we want you to utilize that asset to its fullest extent.
What's a dog cost us, roughly?
Roughly, I believe our last dog purchase was $16,000.
$16,000, and then there's 6 months offline, so we're paying a deputy 6 months to be in school plus a dog, and then they finally hit the street. What's the average working span of a dog?
Here at Martin County Sheriff's Office, we like to stay in between about 9 and 10 years. That would be the dog's age.
So tell me the average lifespan that we actually work a dog here at the Martin County Sheriff's Office.
Well, depending on the age of the dog when we get them, it's primarily about 7 years. We get 7 years of good work out of every dog that we select.
So we've talked about the aggressive side of the dog. Let's talk about the family side of the dog. That dog, for each handler, becomes like a son to the handler, correct?
Correct. Yeah, as you can see with Zoli on the table, his focus was primarily on his handler, Deputy White. So the bond between the dog and the handler is extremely important.
And then tell us about family. Like, you have a wife and you have kids. How do the dogs interact with family? These are high drive dogs, and you bring them home and they're a family dog. Is that how that works?
Not always. Typically, I like our guys to keep the interaction with the family to a minimum, because at the end of the day, these are animals. They are well trained, but they're also unpredictable. So I would encourage at least the guys in our unit minimal contact with family members. They are work dog. They are property of the sheriff's office, so they have a job to do. And of course, that doesn't apply to the handler. The handler can have friendly interaction with the dog all day long.
So, Sergeant, specifically, tell me about your relationship with your canine.
So at the end of the day, my canine Nitro is with me all the time. He comes to work with me, goes home with me. He eats breakfast and dinner with me. He is my partner. So to be with him constantly, you do develop a special bond with your dog.
So he's with you constantly. You're with him constantly. You can kind of predict each other's movements. And I know I was riding with you not too long ago, and you were telling me the dog knows when to get excited or when not to really be excited. They can kind of get a feel for what the call is going to entail based on your actions or your reactions.
Right. Just like we learn to read our dogs are learning how to read us. So they're picking up on cues as well when it's go time. And of course, there's other things like hitting the siren. The dog knows, okay, something good's about to happen. But yeah, just simple interactions. The dog will know when it's time to go to work.
So you're telling me the dog's getting an adrenaline rush like we do while you're running lights and sirens?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's intriguing. Fascinating stuff. We'll be right back. We're going to introduce you to one of the new canine handlers, and you've already met his working dog. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back. My name's Sergeant Christian Crandall. I'm the sergeant over the K-9 unit, and today I have the pleasure of introducing Deputy Cam White to you all. Cam, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sarge. Happy to be here.
So, Cam, what made you want to get into K-9?
So when I first started this career, I had some things set out in mind that I wanted to do. I wanted to be in narcotics. I wanted to be an FTO. And K-9 was kind of always in my back pocket, and it was something that I always found interesting, always found fun. I've had the luck of having one of my closest friends been a handler here for the last several years. I got to go on a lot of deployments with him, see what he does. And that kind of inspired me when the new spot opened up to just take a chance, say, hey, it'll be fun, give it a shot. And thankfully, I'm very grateful that you and the rest of our unit selected me to be one of our new handlers.
Great. So you all got to see, you were introduced earlier to K-9 Zoli. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the selection process? You got to be involved in that. What were some takeaways you had?
So we did several selections through different vendors. He'd actually chosen other dogs too that didn't work out because they weren't as good as he is. For his selection, we had, I believe, 4 or 5 different dogs. We started off with what's called a hunt drive test, which is the dog's desire to go out and find prey. His hunt drive was fantastic. You could tell that he had been in that room that we did the hunt drive test in before, but he still was, all he wanted to do was find the ball that they had hid for him. The next thing we did was an environmentals test. We took him over to a home improvement store and had them test out different types of like footing, like uneven footing, push carts, things like that. Checked out the electronic double doors. I remember he used Halloween time, so he came up on one of the Halloween decorations. We stepped on it, and it kind of like lunged out at him, and he lunged right back and started biting it, which you and I thought was great.
Yeah, all good traits.
Yeah, we brought him right to the different parts of the department store, had him go up and down ladders. His environmentals were solid. Then when we brought him back for the last test was bite work, and we were all very impressed with his bite work.
Good. So we selected Zoli to be our designated explosive detection dog. What are some of the responsibilities or events that he would work in that capacity?
He would sweep schools and different events for potential explosive hides. The popular ones will be graduations, proms, any kind of dignitary protection events, sometimes private events that we do here in the county. He'll go through ahead of time and just ensure that there wasn't anything placed beforehand, and then other deputies or other entities can block that area down and make sure no one comes or goes after that.
All right, so you're currently in canine school to get this dog certified, and you. How close are we to being finished? What were some of your favorite parts? When will we see this dog out in the streets?
So since we got him in October, the school itself started in September. Had to restart a little bit with him, but he's been progressing very well. Should be done in about 4 to 6 weeks with his patrol and detection. And then after that, it's just going to be hopefully smooth sailing.
Well, that's awesome, Cam. We appreciate having you and K-9 Zoli on the team. I know we're all looking forward to seeing all that you and he will do in the near future.
Thank you.
And we will be right back.
Thank you for joining us. We had a great show, but don't forget, this is Get the Wrong Exit.